Good morning, students. In today's class, we'll discuss about broadband ISDN. In the previous class, we discussed about ISDN. ISDN stands for Integrated Service Digital Networks, which supports two rates. One is called basic rate, another one is called as primary rates. And the basic rate supports 192 kbps bit rate, whereas the primary rate supports 1544 kbps and 2048 kbps. Okay, but nowadays we want the data rates which are more than these data rates. Okay, so the evolution of this broadband ISDN comes into picture because of need for high bit data rates. Something like it can have some 600 Mbps or more. So in such cases, for a high quality video transmission, for video conference, for aerial surveillance, in so many applications we require the data rates which are larger than these primary rates. So because of these reasons, we are moving to the concept called as broadband ISDN, which supports larger data rates. Okay, now in this class we will discuss in detail about what is broadband ISDN and its classifications and its protocol architecture. So broadband ISDN, so it is defined as a network capable of supporting larger data rates greater than your primary rates. So primary rates are 1544 kbps and 2048 kbps. They are supported by ISDN, but we want the data rates more than this. Okay, so broadband ISDN is classified into two types: interactive services and distributed services. Okay, interactive services as well as distribution services. So what is interactive services means? We can take them as conversation services, messaging services and retrieval services. Coming to distribution services, two types are there: broadcast services and cycle services. Now we will discuss these classifications one by one in detail. So coming to conversational services, the name itself indicates that is for conversation. So we know that only the speech is the signal that is transmitted between end to end. Okay, therefore the conversation service supports the end to end information transfer on a real time basis, that is bidirectionally. Okay, on bidirectional axis. So some of the examples of this conversation services is, we know that video telephony, video conference and surveillance. So all these are examples of some conversational services provided by this ISDN. BISDN. B stands for broadband. And one more point you can say here is BISDN and NISDN. So ISDN is also called as NISDN. Why means? Because here the bandwidth is less, narrow in bandwidth, hence the name narrow ISDN. Whereas in case of broadband ISDN, we are having wider bandwidth, therefore the name called as broadband ISDN. Okay, in this concept, we will say frequently use the term NISDN. NISDN stands for narrow band ISDN, which is same as nothing but your ISDN. Okay. So coming to the next one, messaging services. So message service is used for store and forward communication purpose. This type of servicing is used for store and forward communication purpose, such as sending voicemails, document mails with some text and graphics and so on. So this type of servicing is used in BISDN. Okay, Next one is retrieval services, which are used for capable of retrieving the voice passages and some video text. So for all these type of applications, we use this retrieval services. Generally, this retrieval services is the enhanced version of your video text in ISDN. So we have one service called as video text. So the enhanced version of this video text in ISDN is retrieval service in VISDN. Okay. So in the previous case, with the help of ISDN, for example, if you take stock markets. So in the stock market, they are going to display the information in terms of text only. If I am using ISDN, with the advanced technologies, if I am going to use the BSDN, along with the text data, we can also see some graphical interfaces, such as I can see the data in terms of bar charts or in terms of pie charts or in terms of histograms. Okay, because of larger bandwidth, not only text, you can also see the text in terms of graphical manner with the help of this retrieval service in BISDN. And next one is distribution service. So two types are there, broadcasting and cyclic. The name itself, broadcast, indicates what? Broadcasting. Broadcasting means one sender and many receivers. Generally, one of the application of this broadcasting is sending the television on network. Using the television on network is an example for distribution. That is a broadcast service. Okay. And electronic newspapers is an example for your broadcast distribution. Okay. And in broadcasting, the user have no control over it. He has no control to watch what he wants on the screen. Whatever it is broadcasted, it will be displayed in the screen. He has no control to change anything. That's a drawback in case of broadcast distribution. To give control to the user, we go for cyclic distribution. Okay. In case of cyclic distribution, okay, there is some control to be given to the user to watch the information that required on the screen. Okay. So the cyclic distribution is an enhanced domain of conventional telex service in case of BSD. Okay. So if there is no control to the user, it comes under broadcast service. If I am giving some control to the user to watch what he wants on the screen, then it comes under cyclic distribution. That's the main difference between broadcasting and cyclic distribution. Now, so what are the challenges in broadband ISDN? Because you think about a large spectrum of your BSDN, because it has to support the low data rate voice, as well as it has to support high data rate video. Okay. So because it has to handle both the corners of the spectrum, it has to handle the low frequency or low bitrate voice signals it has to transmit, and also it has to handle the high bitrate videos in the spectrum. So therefore it has to face some challenges in designing the BSDN architecture. Okay. So the broad range of services supported by BSDN poses some challenges in designing a suitable architecture for network. For widely, one for data rate requirements, another one is average holding time. If we take one example for a low bit rates, if we take voice, in case of voice, the data rate is 64 kbps. The data rate is 64 kbps only, and the average holding time is of 100 seconds. So this has to handle the situation, as well as it has to handle, for example, if I want to transmit a an high definition television on the network. So for high definition television, it has to use a maximum of 100 Mbps bitrate. At the same time, the average holding duration time is some 2.5 hours. Okay, so based upon these two challenges, you have to design this BISDN architecture, keeping these 2 points in mind, because throughout the entire spectrum, it has to handle the low bitrate voice as well as the high bitrate video as well. So we have to choose some suitable architecture for this BISDN. And so to face those challenges, what are the requirements? The important requirements of BISDN are: it has the ability to support the narrow band as well as broadband signals. That is what we discussed now. Voice of low bitrate and video of high bitrate. So it has to support a narrow bandwidth as well as broad bandwidth signals. And the second one is ability to find interactive and distributed services. That is what we seen earlier, right? Interactive means conversation services we seen, messaging we seen, and retrieve we seen. Coming to distribution, we have seen broadcasting and cyclic distributions. So it has support all these things. And one more point is point-to-point, point-to-multi-point, and broadcasting connections. It has to support all these things. Next one is it has to handle different topics. Nothing but it has to handle voice, it has to handle data, and it also has to handle the videos. Okay, and also it has to handle the value-added services. Not only these one, along with we have to provide more number of services to the subscribers. And one more thing is it has to be multi-stage switching and non-switched connections it has to handle. And last one is the channel bandwidth up to 140 Mbps you have to choose. Okay. So to handle these channels, there are the proposed broadband IC channels are H2 channel, H3 channel, and H4 channel. Okay, already we said, right? It has to handle the channels of 140 Mbps up to 140 Mbps. Here the channels supported by this BISDN is H2 channel with a bitrate of 30 to 45 Mbps, and H3 channel with a bitrate of 60 to 70 Mbps, and H4 channel with a bitrate of 120 to 140 Mbps. So these are channels that are used in BISDN for performing the information transmission or the signal transmission or your data transmission. Now, next one is broadband ISDN architecture. So here, the main thing for choosing this BISDN is to provide the services with higher bit rates rather than the primary rates. Okay, and one more thing, the invention of this BISDN is because of technological developments and requirements of the user. One is requirements of user; they want higher bit rate applications. Another one is availability of technology. So based upon these two reasons, they have designed this BISDN architecture. If we take first thing, so if to support larger bit rates, we are having advanced technology in optical fibers. So optical fibers can able to transmit this much bit rates. Therefore, it can handle. Next one is low cost and high speed integrated electronic circuits are available because of advancement technology in VLSI. We can implement them with low cost and high speed. Next one is low cost and high quality video cameras are there, because we want to transmit high video means you have to take the videos first. So to get the high quality videos, we have high low cost and high resolution videos are there in the market. So because of these reasons, we are having technology to produce and we have the devices to transmit. Hence, you can able to design this BISDN architecture that supports the higher bit rates rather than the primary rates. And BISDN stands overlap with the concept of universal communications. So what is the meaning of universal communication? Any person in the world at any corner can able to exchange data or can exchange information. That's the concept of universal communication. Any person in any corner of the world can able to transfer the information or data. So any two subscribers in any corner of the world can exchange the data in any medium or combination of mediums. So it may be a wired or wireless or anything, different mediums you can able to combine. And next one is retrievals and sharing of heavy amount of data through a common medium or different mediums among themselves with multiple sources or a single source. And next one is the distribution of entertainment, on-demand distribution of entertainment, education and cultural materials to the customers. Okay. Next one is this ISDN should support services with the variable data rates because it's based on the application. You have to choose the appropriate data rates. Therefore, this BISDN should support services with variable data rates. So here we see something like for low bit rates. For low bit rates, we can go for circuit switching. And for high bit rates, we use packet switching. Therefore, we have to choose. Okay, this BISDN should support both packet switching and circuit switching. So, because of advancement technology, okay, this packet switching supports asynchronous transfer modes. That is called ATM. Okay. So the packet switching supports the asynchronous transfer mode protocol, ATM protocol. So there is, in case of BISDN architecture, we use ATM protocol architecture for transmitting the informations. So now we will discuss in detail about this ATM protocol. So here this BISDN protocol reference model consists of 3 planes. Okay, one is called user plane, another one is called as control plane, and last one is called as management plane. Okay, this ISDN protocol architecture contains 3 planes: user plane, control plane, and management plane. Now we'll discuss these planes in detail. So coming to the user planes, which deals with the information exchange, okay, which deals with the user information transferred and associated control flows. Okay, that can be done with the help of this user plane. The next one is a control plane, which is used to perform call control and connection control functions. With the help of this control plane, we are going to perform the call control and connection control functions. Last one is management plane. So with the help of this plane, we are going to manage all 3 planes. So this is about the levels, planes in the broadband ISDN architecture. So here you can see we are mainly focusing on this ATM performance. So it contains following functions are done by this ATM cell multiplexing and demultiplexing, virtual path identifiers and virtual connection channel identifiers. So with the help of these 2 identifiers only are going to perform the logical functions in the ATM cell, and call header generation and extraction and generic flow control. So these are some of the functions done by the ATM layer. So if you take one ATM cell, it contains totally 5 plus 8, 48, nothing but 53 octets. Nothing but 53 bytes. I can take it as octet means 8 bits. So I can take it as 53 bytes. So out of these 53 bytes, 5 bytes are used for as header bytes. 5 bytes are used as header bytes. And remaining 48 as payloads, which is for information. Okay, so this is the actual cell format of the ATM. Okay, so which uses asynchronous time division multiplexing techniques, this ATM, and concept of packet oriented switching. So this ATM cell contains virtual channel connections and virtual path connections, VCCs and VPCs. So which are used for performing the logical connections in the ATM with the help of these VCCs and VPCs. So it contains generally the virtual channels and so one more parameter you can see here, VCs and VPs. So VC means virtual channel and VP means virtual path. So here with the help, this VC is the basic unit for connecting the two end users. So it is the unit of connection between the two end users. So here we use virtual path. What is virtual path here means? Virtual path consists of bundles of VCs which are having the same endpoint. For example, I am having some 3 VCs. So for the 3 VCs, if the endpoint is same, then we are going to use this virtual path for transmitting these virtual channels to the same endpoint. So virtual path consists of bundles of VCs that are having the same endpoint. Okay. So VPs which are having the same endpoints are multiplexed together. Okay. Here I can have different VPs. So here 2 VPs are having the same destination means then you can go for a multiplexing. That means I will club these 2. So 2 VPs are multiplexed and transmitted to the same. Because both the VPs are having the same destination, here I can go for multiplexing of these VPs. Okay. So this is the connection what we seen earlier now. So this is VCs. So bundle of VCs are transmitted through VPs. Okay, if both the VPs are having same destination, with the help of multiplexing we can transmit all the VPs. So next one is virtual channel identifiers and virtual path identifiers are there, which are used to these tags are used to identify VCs and VPs. Okay, are unit tags which identify VCs and VP links. Okay, another point is the VCC provides a communication link between ATM layer of the end users. So in this communication link there are number of points where the VC is switched and VCI is changed. You will see one example here where you can interchange them with the help of this switch. So here we have used some switch here. For example, a VP1, one of the VC1 contains VC1, VC2, right? It contains VC1, VC2. For example, a VC1 in this VP1 want to transmit to change to the VP5. So with the help of this VP switch, we can do that. Like this. For example, this is one VP, VPI, virtual. Okay, so this is VCs. For example, I want to, this is VP1, this is VP2, you can take. So if any VC in one VP want to interchange with another VP in another one means the help of this VP switch, we are going to interconnect these two. Okay. So these are some of the important points in ATM functionalities, which is in BISDN. Okay. In the next class, we will discuss about the remaining concepts.